Hi everybody. Today I'm in Mark 2. I want to tell you a story. I don't know if you've heard this story or not. The book of Mark, chapter 2 in the Bible, starts out with Jesus had been gone to Galilee and he was preaching there. And in Mark 2 it says he's come home to Capernaum. So there's huge crowds following Jesus at this point. And he is in this house. It says, most translations say his at home, but the actual Greek word there means in house, because later on it talks about how Jesus didn't have a home. So I tend to think that it was probably somebody else's house that he was in. Anyway, there are people just packed in this house, and they're all over the outside of the house. They're in the doorway. I read a thing in my research that said that most houses back then could hold probably at the very most about 50 people. So you figure there's 50 people in the house. There's a bunch of people in the doorway standing around as Jesus preaches. And then there is people all around the outside of the house. He's just drawing big crowds of people. So these guys know this, have a friend, he's a paralytic. And these four guys take their friend, put him on this bed, and take him because they think that they want to take him so Jesus can heal him. They get to the house and it's completely surrounded. There's absolutely no way they're getting into this house to get by Jesus. So these four guys climb up on the roof and they start digging into the roof. From what I've read, most of those roofs in that day would have been made out of sticks and branches with mud or clay. In this particular house, in the book of Luke, it talks about how this house had tile on top of the roof as well. So they're digging through this stuff. Can you imagine Jesus standing preaching in this house and all of a sudden the ceiling starts falling in? Pretty crazy. So these guys bust through the roof and they lower their friend, the paralytic, down on this bed in front of Jesus. Jesus looks up at him and says, he looks at the paralytic and says, "Your sins are forgiven." Now there's some scribes that were standing around in the house too, and they start thinking to themselves, how can this man say that this guy's sins are forgiven? Only God can do that. This is blasphemy. He's speaking blasphemy. Jesus, it says, immediately knew by his Spirit, through his Spirit, that these men were thinking this. And he looks at them and he says, is it easier for me to say, your sins are forgiven, or pick up your bed and walk? So it says, just to prove to you that the Son of Man, which is a title Jesus used for himself quite often, just to prove to you that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. He looks at the man, he says, stand up, pick up your mat, and go home. And the guy does exactly that. He jumps up, grabs his bed up, and walks out through the crowd. And this makes everybody absolutely go nuts in the crowd. They're all going crazy. Some things I want to point out about this are that Jesus, by doing this, points out that he has authority on earth to forgive sin. He has authority over all things then on earth. And because he can make this man get up and walk, he would also have the authority on the other greater things, which would be forgiving sin. So all these people were amazed at this man walking out of the house, and they were glorifying God. So that's Mark 2, the first part of it, through verse 12. And I'm going to cover the next part of it later on. I hope you like the story. Thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. Check us out on our other platforms if you'd be willing to do that too. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. So we appreciate your support there. Thanks, and everybody have a great night.